This is one of our tangents here at the pod, but sorry. I'm looking at Erica because she's like, here we go. But
release the Snyder Cut.
You're right. Release the Snyder Cut.
It's time for another episode of Best of the Tour. This is the show that takes you behind the scenes of your favorite gig posters, tour merch, and the artists who bring it all to life. Let's start the show.
Welcome to episode 4 of the Best of the Tour podcast, entitled Doyle Rules. And if you're tuning in, this is not a recap of Billy Madison.
No.
This is an artist interview. We were fortunate enough to sit down today with gig poster artist and just, I'll say, creative extraordinaire, Tim Doyle. Tim, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Yeah, we're really excited because, again, we were talking a little bit before recording, your work, especially in comic books and pop culture, is right up Mike and I's alley. We've been collectors for years. Love going to a good Comic-Con and love, getting dressed up for Halloween on our favorite Star Wars costumes and things of that nature. And collectibles, but we're really excited to have you here on the podcast as our third artist, which is pretty cool.
Episode 4, but
yes.
Third artist interview. We're counting in track.
It can only go up from here. I'm scraping the bottom, and so everything you're just going to build better each episode.
Oh man, well I'll tell you, if you're not familiar with Tim's work, it's incredible. Obviously, we talk a lot on this podcast about gig posters. I mean, you've done work for bands A to Z. I mean, Alabama Shakes, Metallica, Kings of Leon, Weird Al. But and I think we want to hear all about how you get started in your journey. But I got to kind of shout out that I think the first piece of yours that I saw, I don't know if it was the first, it was early. It was way back in like 2009, 2010. You did this incredible Optimus Prime poster that was sort of a play on political posters of the time, and it was like change in all capital letters into a truck. And I was like, this is my people. Like this is I find it brilliant. I think it's an amazing piece.
It was like lightning in a bottle. I have no idea how that thing got so far and varied. It got everywhere. My neighbor used to work for Lucasfilm video games, their video game department, LucasArts. Yeah. And when he moved in, I was like, oh, what do you do? You got all these video game arcade machines coming in. He's like, oh, I work in video games. Like, oh, I do posters, I do art stuff. And he's like, oh yeah, anyway, he found out I did that change to a truck poster, and he geeked out on me, and I was geeking out on him. I'm like, you worked on Portal. He's like, you did that Optimus Prime drawing.
That's right.
It was just ridiculous. It went viral at a time when it was still kind of early internet. Social media was just kind of finding its footing, and it just ended up getting shared everywhere. It was madness. It was a parody of that Shepard Fairey Obama poster, but it was, decidedly a not political statement. Right. I mean, I'm a dirty leftist, but that was purposely not a political statement. Right. But people could like project on it whatever they wanted.
Yeah, it's the poster you can get behind no matter what your political affiliations are.
Right.
Because who doesn't love Optimus Prime?
The Decepticons don't love Optimus Prime.
Other than Megatron. That's right. Other than
Megatron. So, I mean, that's early work. I mean, that's 2009. Yeah. How did you get into the art world, comic book world? What kind of led you now to the artist who you are today?
Gosh. So I was born in 77. So, perfect age to just be a nerdy 80s kid, absorb all the pop culture I could. I was reading comics, had a original Atari 2600, whatever. So it's just like baked in to my life. And as I got older, I got a job at a comic book store, and, drawing, never stopped drawing ever. I barely graduated high school because I was only drawing. I was not studying. I was not doing homework. And then art college was too expensive. So I moved to Austin in 99 and fell in with a nice arts community here. Yeah. I got a job at this place called Azel Art Supply, which was a regional chain of art supply stores. And this is before Amazon. So if you were a working artist in Austin, you had to go there to get your art supplies.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I was talking to everybody who came in through that door. Like, what do you do? How do you do it? How did you get there? Became friends with some gallery owners, and, from there started painting and, showing in coffee shops and small galleries around town, while also, I went to work at a comic book store, and then I ended up managing a whole chain of comic book stores, ended up getting to know more professionals and, more artists and writers. And then I went to work at the Alamo Draft House because the comic book store owner, the guy actually owned the place, was a lunatic. So I walked out one day and I was friends with the guys at the Alamo Draft House, and I said, hey, I just need a job. So after being a cook and a waiter for a little bit, they're like, hey, we just opened this t-shirt shop. We don't really know what we're doing with it, but you have retail management experience. It's called Mondo Tees. Do you want to run it?
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, I can do that. And it was really just like some iron-on t-shirts, just whatever dumb stuff that we dreamed up. Like when the first Borat movie came out, we had I found out somebody to manufacture those green thong mankinis. We sold thousands of those things because nobody else was. There wasn't like Spirit Halloween. You couldn't just go online and buy this stuff. It was all kind of gray area bootleg merch, but it was fun, and celebrities were coming in there all the time, and we were doing events, and it was just a really wild moment in the history of that place.
Yeah. And
one of the first things I noticed when I walked in there, they'd been open for a couple months, but really didn't have like a general manager. Is there was like 3 or 4 posters in the back for past events, this thing called Cinemania. And Rob Jones, who I don't know if you know Rob Jones, but he had designed those. Rob went on to he does like all the design work for the White Stripes and Jack White stuff. He does the Racking Tours posters. And I called Tim League, who was the guy who founded the Alamo Draft House. I was like, what are these awesome posters? How do we do more of this? And he's like, well, call Rob Jones. So he gave me Rob's number. And Rob used to live here in Austin, but he's good friends. He was my gateway into the gig poster world because he had actually knew my artwork from around Austin, and I was like, hey, Tim League told me to call you. Let's make the donuts. Let's do this. So we had a Quentin Tarantino film festival that was about to kick off, and so he put me in touch with Tyler Stout and Todd Slater, and I think Jermaine Rogers did one. Bobby Dixon, the local guy here. And at that point, then it was just off to the races. Like we had very early e-commerce website that was janky, but it worked. The poster collecting community was rabid but small. And with each new release, we just got more and more people. But after doing that from 2005 to about mid 2008, I was like, I just want to draw. Like I had done a couple posters for Mondo at that time. Yeah, while being their general manager, their lead t-shirt designer, the guy ironing on the t-shirts, doing all this stuff. Yeah. Yep. And I had a great staff and a couple of people under me, but we're still really small. I was like, I'll do the poster for The Wizard. And then I did a poster for Big Trouble Little China. And I did one for Godfather. And I was like, oh, these sold out immediately. I'm making a lot of money for somebody else. And so I left, I laid the groundwork to what eventually became Nakatomi with a friend of mine. And when we launched in January 2009, the Alamo and was not happy with me at all for they wanted me to give them their full attention and I wanted more money. And those two things were in conflict. So I left, and I think immediately Tim League reasonably was like, oh shit, who's going to run this? So he brought in Rob Jones and a couple other people. My old friend Justin Ishmael ran Mondo for I think about 5 years after that, and they did amazing work. But they suddenly started taking it a lot more seriously after I left, because I think they realized like, oh, if this is a really viable business model, then we need to treat it seriously. And it was one of those things where it's like I wanted to work for myself. I've been a self-starter and running businesses on my own for so long. It was the best place for me. And I was never going to give all of myself to another company. So it's also better for Mondo that I left. But, this was 16 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and we've both done quite well since then.
Just, yeah. It's amazing though to be able to like be the captain of your own ship, right?
Yeah.
especially in a creative capacity.
I've been I think completely unemployable for 16 years now. Like I can't go back to working for somebody else. I like working with clients, and I like making stuff my customers want. But yeah, like punching a time clock or marching to somebody else's beat, it's not great. And it probably doesn't make me the best manager either, because all the people who work for me, I'm like, yeah, stick it to the man. That's me. So
I think it's like that creative, like unchained, right? Like you don't want it chained, because when you mentioned that you did a couple posters and you dropped in there, one of them was Big Trouble in Little China. I'm like, yeah, that's something that doesn't get approved by management. Like you have to be in your, because that's such a niche film, right? Like, I mean, I know what you're talking about because I love that movie. I was a kid watching Kurt Russell and go up against these crazy wizardy samurai guys and do a poster like that. It's incredible.
Well, and for me, kind of coming out of like underground art, punk rock, DIY scene of artists who just like, this is what I want to do. It just seemed like a logical leap for me. And yeah, back then, the early days of Mondo, first 4 years, like nothing had studio approval, nothing was licensed. We just did it because we wanted to.
Yeah.
We were showing the movies at the Alamo.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, we're showing this movie. Oh, we're showing Blade Runner. Fuck, like call Tyler Stout.
Yeah.
Have him do a Blade Runner poster, and he knocked it out of the park every time. That guy was a machine. Or like Todd Slater did this banging poster for Goldfinger. I almost said gold member, because that's how deep.
The OG, the actual finger.
Mm-hmm.
And he had done a portrait of Sean Connery made out of gold bars, because it's all set in Fort Knox. And it was just like, everything was so new and fresh and vital. And we built this scene, Rob Jones held my hand the whole way of like, navigating it. But we built this whole scene that, you wouldn't have Bottleneck Gallery or, Spoke Art is, fucking massive. Gallery 1988 kind of got to ride those coattails. Like it built this poster scene that exists still today that, hundreds and hundreds of people work in now. I'm not saying I'm solely responsible for that in no way. And I'm saying that probably would have happened eventually. It's just, we were very early on the scene.
Yeah. Well, and as collectors for us, like, I mean, we buy from those large galleries, from the artists that do the drops to get the pieces that we love. And so like, I'm like so grateful that there was that foundation that you laid with Mondo to be able to now, for us as obsessive collectors, to have a lot of different places to place our money that hopefully go more direct towards the artists too.
Well, and what was great is that because Rob Jones knew all the rock poster artists, because that's what he came out of, is that we were drafting all these people like Jay Ryan and Billy Perkins and Anna Guy Davis, all these people that did really great rock posters to do. They couldn't wait to try their hand at doing like a John Hughes film or something like that.
Yeah.
And then, but also there's, in the years since, almost 20 years since, because I started there in 2005. Here we are, 2025. You see it go the other way too, where all these really great pop culture artists want to now do rock posters. So it's kind of this interesting communication between the two sides of the industry. But
yeah, and then you think about like, for us, we generally are the more music collectors of posters. Like our paper in our house is 99.9% music.
Yeah, but there's this history there. Like I'm looking at one right now. We have, it's sort of like a, what is that, about 36 inches by
24 by 36. It's like the movie theater poster sized one.
It's we'll have to get it and show it to you. And the artist James Flames did it for a band called Goose, but it was before Goose was like through the roof. And Goose did this sort of like homemade movie, almost like, really, I don't want to say on camcorders, but it was, but it's actually kind of an
so
amazing
great
movie.
It's so campy,
but it was called Shenanigans Nightclub, and it was this whole like, almost like 80s time travel-y. If you watched movies like Better Off Dead and things like that, you get these little glimpses of it. And so these guys made that movie, and then somehow got James Flames to do like the movie poster for it, and it's nice. Scratching that itch of, I think, the creative, because there's that influencer. I mean, gigs for the music scene, the poster art for the band. There's that
James Flames is
that cinematic feel to. Hey, I remember walking into the theater to see Empire Strikes Back when I was a kid, and there were those huge posters that now are extremely sought after and collected.
Yeah.
Right.
Thanks to our friends over at the Rock Poster Society. If you don't know TRPS, they are a nonprofit behind the world's longest running rock poster collection shows. That includes the Festival of Rock Posters in San Francisco, which is a bucket list thing for Mike and I to go to. But they have been championing the art of poster for decades. They support both the artists and those people who collect them and preserve them. If you want to get involved, go over to trps.org. If you want to become a member and check out their upcoming events.
Check them out.
Yeah, James Flames. We were in a show in Chicago years ago. He's legit. He's great. Such a nice guy too. But yeah, you look at dudes like Daniel Danger and what they do with their music posters are so, I don't know, like overwhelming and setting a mood and just a tone that will jive with a band amazingly.
Yeah, we have a few different areas in our house as collectors. We try to like put our artists together, and so we have what we have a few walls of. We have a wall of danger, which has a whole bunch of Daniel Danger's pieces.
That's right.
And we do have a wall of flames,
right,
which doesn't house all of our James Flames posters, but yes, it's a good bit.
But I think some of your work, Tim, is in that same space, that mood setting, sort of like, maybe a little bit darker sometimes, not always. Well, you did super goth, but
you did a line with the Springfield. It's sort of like a post-apocalyptic-y, or like if Springfield. So for those of you who don't know, maybe you're living under a rock. Springfield, of where the Simpsons live. This little town called.
It's been around for a couple of years.
Just a couple of years.
It's kind of niche program. You might not have heard of it. It's called The Simpsons.
Maybe
small indie animation project.
Yeah,
but those pieces are really cool because it does. Like Mike said, it takes something that for us is it's fresh. It's nostalgic because The Simpsons are so prolific as a brand and as a. I can't even say a cartoon, but like
a cornerstone of
and prophetic in a lot of the things that they do. But to be able to now see it in that vein of like, if I was driving in some middle of America town and I had an old, camera that I happened to snap a picture of, Moe's Tavern, but it's not like the shiny Moe's of the show. It's really cool.
It's funny. A lot of people, and I don't understand why, because of the Springfield nuclear power plant, but a lot of people are like, oh, this is post-apocalyptic. I'm like, nah, it's just drawing Springfield.
It's just where the nuclear power plant is.
It's just Springfield. I mean, if you look at how dudes like Crosshair, he's an amazing poster artist, and he does all these just photos of industrial buildings that he adapts to screen printing and turns into amazing gig posters, or even the guys at Landland. And they're just amazing drawings of these dilapidated buildings. And, Daniel Danger working in his, kind of like the urban rural decay vibe of it all. Like it's such appeals to me so strongly as like something to draw. It's beautiful, but it's ugly. It's broken, but it's serene. I don't know. But I mean, if you look at other stuff I do too, I don't try to stick in one style.
Yeah.
I also I have a strong comic book background, for wanting to work in comics for so long and never, I took a look at the financials on how comic books work. I was like, no. I have several good friends who work in the industry. My buddy Dave Marquez, he used to actually work for me at one of the comic book stores around here in Austin. He drew Ultimate Spider-Man. He's drawing X-Men right now. And, he's at the table 10, 12 hours a day. And I just, I don't have patience for that, man. I love drawing.
Bandwidth.
Right. I love what I do, but I also like mowing my yard, seeing my children.
But I mean, Mike's been collecting comic books we've been together for 25 years.
Yeah, I've always been a true reader, right? Like I buy what I like, that the stories have my attention, but then you stumble into something that's like, captures your mind in a way that's like, I never saw the universe like that before. I think it's this writer. I think his name's Sean. Was it Sean White? Did the Batman the White Knight? I don't know if you've read that or looked at that.
Sean Gordon Murphy.
Yeah, Sean Murphy. That's right. Yeah. And it's like this total, just shift of the whole universe of Batman. Kind of grew up through the the Adam West Batman. Then it got gothic in the late 80s, early 90s with Tim Burton and Michael Keaton, and it got dark, black rubber outfit. And so, I'd seen plenty of iterations, but then one comes along here and there that just kind of like bends your mind around the concept to a different way.
And that's what I love about those characters that have been around for almost a century now, is that they've been interpreted every which way. There's no one right or wrong way. Yeah. I could say I didn't particularly like the Zack Snyder films, but that is just a valid Superman as the newest one, which is more towards my liking, but they're all Superman, like they're all, I don't know. I like seeing how you can reinterpret these things to make them more relevant, and sometimes it works, sometimes they don't.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm glad to hear you liked it, because I went into there with very low expectations. I had sort of a mixed bag from the Snyderverse. This is one of our tangents here at the pod, but sorry, I'm looking at Erica because she's like, here we go. But
release the Snyder cut.
You're right. Release the Snyder cut and bring back Cavill. I might have had a few moments online. But no, I thought James Gunn did a great job. I thought David Cornsweet really fit the role, and it's a different, it was a little bit almost like an evolution of the Tom Welling Smallville Superman for me, a little bit more than really like, the Cavill or obviously Christopher Reeves. But I'm interested to see where it's going to go, because I thought there was a lot of promise there.
Peacemaker season 2 just dropped last night, the first episode, and it picks up right kind of like after that Superman movie. So it's like, oh, okay, like we're doing it, we're going right at it. So good. And seeing totally obscure characters like Guy Gardner and Mr. Terrific on screen.
That's right.
I was like, oh, hell yeah. Like I've been reading comics since I was 8 years old, and I'm now 48. So yeah, I got 4 decades of reading comics. That's a problem.
Honestly, even as for me, I'm like, I would say I'm casual in my fandom, just because by association, I always go to see the movies, and I'm curious about a lot of different things, and I'm always asking Mike, like, well, how does that fit in to do this, to this? I enjoyed it. I walked out of the theater, I was like, I had fun.
Yeah,
I thought it was really great, and I think
when I first saw his Suicide Squad movie, I was like, oh, this guy gets it. Like he gets the DC universe right. Like it's oddball, weird characters, but you humanize them and make them real. I mean, they made me care about the Polka Dot Man. Like, come on, this is great.
Well, and I was like, why are we bringing Metamorpho into this? Like, what? And then I don't want to spoil anything for listeners, but what he did, I was like, wow, that's a really interesting use of that guy's random, and I'm not sure all that useful powers, but in this instance was really useful. So, kudos to the thinking outside the box there. I'm waiting with bated breath as to where they go with Batman. Who's it going to be? I've seen a couple. We're big fans. We've watched all of the Reachers. I've thought that guy's done a very good job. I think he could be a very sort of brutish.
Alan, what's his name?
I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about Alan, the guy that plays Reacher. And then the other actor that I saw is Brandon Sklarner.
He's in
he was in the Yellowstone prequel. He played one of the early Duttons from the like 20s, and I think it would be a great Bruce Wayne Batman, just sort of like a different build. He wouldn't necessarily be the brute and brawler that Alan Ritchson would be.
Yeah, Alan Ritchson.
Yeah. No, I'm as a guy who took 15 20 years between Star Wars movies. I don't know, like living without this media, and then the fact I can pick and choose what comic book show I'm going to watch now. That's crazy. It's going from a dearth of media to consume outside of the comics themselves. And now just I can pick and choose what version of the Batman I want to watch. It's ridiculous. I feel like I'm in a coma somewhere, and this is just all a dream.
Do you have a favorite like comic book brand character, that one that you love to read, but two that you love to draw?
I guess I've been reading comics for so long, I don't really follow characters as closely as I do creators, because I've kind of, not to sound jaded, but I've seen it all. I want to see something new. But I will say, when I was like 8 years old, or if not a little bit younger, my mom bought me one of those like 3 packs of random Marvel comics. It's just like, here's what we couldn't sell, put it in a bag and put it on the shelf at a Toys R Us. And one was an issue of Conan, wasn't my thing. One was an issue of Alpha Flight, I don't know what I'm looking at there. And then there was Iron Man 189. And I was like, what is this guy? This guy's cool. And so ever since I was a little kid, Iron Man was my guy. And I've been reading him. I have every issue ever published. I have every issue of Tales of Suspense.
Wow.
I'm a big Iron Man nerd. But yeah, when that first Robert Downey Jr. movie came out and then the world became an Iron Man nerd, I had a brief moment where I was like, "You get off my lawn, get out of here."
I was there first.
Now,
Yeah,
did you go in for that with like, all right, I'm liking the Robert Downey Jr., but I'm also terrified that they're like, this is our one shot at Iron Man. This is me reaching back, but I kind of felt like, we had the Captain America in the sort of blue rubber suit in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
The same era they did like Nick Fury, played by David Hasselhoff. It was that there was a Thor in there that was really stretching it. There was even a really horrible Fantastic Four movie. But I felt like, all right, you're stepping up to the plate with these real, what it would be like in the real world, to quote one of my friends from college. With Iron Man, we've seen Spider-Man, that's been successful. But please don't screw it up. And then I went into that movie with the lowest expectations and came out with my mind absolutely blown.
Yeah, I got because I was working at the Alamo when that came out. There was like an early, it wasn't a test screening and it wasn't a press screening, but it was like 4 movie theaters to kind of like decide, like independent theaters to decide like if they were going to show it, like how many screens they needed on, how many prints they needed. And it's been a long time, so I might have my information all wrong, but I drove up to Dallas from Austin to this movie theater to see the screening and then drove back. And so I get back and they're like, the management of the Alamo, they're like, hey, so, we know you're the #1 Iron Man fan. That's why we sent you there. What'd you think? I was like, it's going to be massive. This movie's going to be fucking massive. Yeah. And it was crazy. And what's real funny is they didn't put the stinger at the end. The thing with Sam Jackson as Nick Fury wasn't on that cut of the film.
Oh.
So when it came out, I didn't go see it opening day because I already seen it, right? And people were walking out like, "Oh, I can't believe Nick Fury showed off." I was like, "What are you? What?"
I missed that. Did I black out?
Yeah, sorry.
Like raced in there and like caught the ending. Yeah, it's been a real
That's awesome.
weird time to be an Iron Man fan, and it's been that way for 17 years now.
Are you looking forward to the return of Robert Downey Jr. now as some form, some variant of Doctor Doom?
That's so. I mean, I love that Fantastic Four movie. I thought that was great. But it's such a weird choice. But the Russo brothers made really great Captain America movies, and those the great Avengers movies. But they also made The Electric State, and that is a train wreck. So I don't know. I don't know where this is going to go. But even if it's bad, I'll enjoy it. Like even the worst Marvel movie. Like, yeah, Eternals wasn't my jam, but you know what? Hey, cool. I've seen Eternals movie. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting high art every time, but it does transcend.
Are you thinking one day, I mean, for you personally, would you do your own art piece for Iron Man, like for a movie that has come out, like official?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I am for hire. So if anybody has any gigs,
just for all the listeners out there.
But yeah, I mean, I've been doing my own thing for so long. I'm not like seeking out those license gigs. A lot of times they don't pay very well. Their visions seem like nightmares, and you don't own your artwork. I kind of just stay in my corner, do my thing, and my fans buy it. And it's kind of why I love doing rock posters, because there isn't as much art direction. Like you don't have to worry about a likeness. You don't have to worry about like, oh, that's not up to our corporate branding standards or whatever. Like, I came from a fine arts background and doing gallery shows and painting, that I really don't do well with art direction. Does that make sense?
It does. Like I'd say that tracks based on everything we've talked about, right? From the
right.
Well,
I mean, let's go ahead.
I was saying we've had conversations with artists where I think a lot of the management from those rock and roll bands, from the band's management that handle the merch and the posters, oftentimes you either have a very specific directive like, hey, this is for something in Chicago, so we want it to be based on the venue or the city, or hey, you know what, do whatever the fuck you want to do. Like we've gotten like those conversations with artists, and it's really interesting because we've heard sometimes it's like if it's whatever you want to do, it's almost harder because you're like, well, I can do anything. But then how do I then make it again from collectors? We look for certain things like, does it tie to the venue? Are there Easter eggs from the songs or the artists that we love? And so like, how do you take all that and then make it into something that
you want to give something to the fans, there's, okay, I guess a little bit of gig poster history. So when I started my own company, Nakatomi, I was having my screen printing done through DNL Printing out of Seattle, who was doing all our printing at Mondo. So that's what I knew. But then I met a local artist, this guy named Clint Wilson, and he was doing his own screen printing out of his apartment. I was like, well, I got a garage I'm not using. Let's set up a shop. And so using his press and his know-how, he taught me how to screen print. And the first thing I printed for myself was a Detroit Cobras poster for this local venue called Emo's. And they kind of let me do whatever I wanted. And like, as long as it fit the vibe of the band, they were happy. And then, so after doing a couple, I was friends with this band, Health. They're still around touring. They're big deal now. But they did a poster for them and a Dallas show. And then kind of grew from there. And there used to be this website, gigposters.com, which is now like this zombie website. I don't know what it is. They're just like selling frames or something. But they used to have a really vibrant community of artists and fans on there. And you could get gigs pretty easily. They weren't like well-paying jobs, but you could work for bands because there'd be an organizer like, hey, this band came to me to organize this tour. You print the posters, ship them to me, and you can sell your copies. And that was the payment, is selling your copies.
Yeah.
There was no upfront money. They didn't pay for their own printing.
Okay.
But back then, a lot of bands didn't know the power of that merchandise.
Yeah.
And out of that scene, like a couple of management companies started getting like their shit together, and we're like, hey, wait, we can actually do this full time. This company, CID Entertainment, who isn't around anymore. The pandemic killed a lot of these businesses. Because once the touring bands went off the road, these tour merch companies couldn't pay the bills.
Yeah.
But I started doing work for Eric Church. I think I did like 6 or 7 posters for them, and then that company got the contract to do George Strait's tour, and it was supposed to be a retirement tour.
Oh,
and,
wow.
I don't know if you've noticed, he still hasn't retired.
No,
Right.
no. There's always like one last tour.
Yeah, 'cause like the Grateful
The
Dead.
final tour. We're really done this time, guys. Tour.
But they hired me to do one design that was supposed to be for the whole tour, and then it would just change the venue information at the bottom. So it was the same design, just printed over and over again. And it was amazing because it was thousands of posters a week, every week. And we got it towards only a 2-color poster because that's the only way we could keep up with demand. We were printing it ourselves. Yeah. It was like, okay, it has to be 2 colors, and this 18 by 24, no edits. We just got to go. But that was amazing early success because it paid for, I paid off my pickup truck. I got new siding on my house. It desperately needed siding. Every time I see the outside of my house, I say, thank you, George Strait.
Yeah.
But then, I picked up other gigs. Those guys were like Skrillex and Muse. And there's this one guy, Matthew Chewy Smith, who was working for them, now has his own company. And that's where the Alabama Shakes gigs are coming from.
Oh,
but
okay.
so a lot of those dudes who were men and women who worked at this company, are now doing their own thing, working directly with bands. And so they're still reaching out to these artists. And, it's cool to see that industry come back.
Yeah.
Because it definitely was scary for a little bit. I mean, you had bands like Metallica and Primus and Dave Matthews who are always going to have tour posters no matter what. But the other bands are coming back around again to be like, oh yeah, right, we need to get back on this. So the Alabama Shakes stuff has been great because not only are we, I illustrated for myself and we printed them out of my shop, but also we printed, I think, 2 or 3 dates for Monk. We did a couple for Sky Mark V. And there's a couple. The scary thing is I don't actually see every job that comes to the shop anymore because my staff does a great job. I have a shop manager, this guy, Tyler Skaggs. He's also an artist. These people have worked for me for over a decade at this point.
Awesome.
Like Tyler's probably like 13 years. Alex, who does all my shipping and customer service, like 14 years. So it's really like, I'm lucky in that respect. But yeah, I don't know how I got on this topic, but I wanted to give you some background.
Is the winding road of how we got it. The question that comes to my mind is there anybody out there, like a band that you'd put at the top or near the top of the list that you'd love to do something for?
I mean, because I'm such a fan, I would love to art direct and illustrate a few for They Might Be Giants. Like, they're kind of like my favorite, but they're also not a big enough fan to probably warrant an entire giant, tour poster series.
Yeah.
Like the Alabama Shakes. Because like once you've done Metallica, and we did Metallica for 3 years. We did all the VIP tour posters.
Yep.
And I illustrated a few myself, and I got to hire all the other artists. So that whole series, like, I was just calling my friends who were illustrators, and everybody drops everything to do something for Metallica. So I got Todd Slater to do a couple, and anybody I wanted to. Justin Hampton did one that was kind of amazing. Jermaine Rogers. But and then when I was working, this is how we got there. We were talking about art direction.
Yes.
Metallica, they just were like, hey, we like skulls and dark stuff, but we don't want any nudity, overt violence, drugs, or alcohol. And I was like, that's great. I can do that. We can make that happen.
Yeah.
Like,
they
want to be able
skulls.
skulls. So like that kind of art direction is great. It just boxes you in a little bit, but it doesn't like, I don't like this color, or you need to redraw that face,
Yeah.
And I think for the whole 3 years, they only canned one poster, I think, ever. And I thought, a really good poster, but I could see why they were kind of like, it's not our vibe. And then when we did a whole tour for Weird Al, they had a spreadsheet. They're like, okay, for this city, we want a poster based on Dare to Be Stupid. For this city, we want a poster based on Wheel of Fish from UHF. Stuff like that.
That's wild.
That's cool.
Yeah. Which is, if you're a fan, that's great. Like, that's really cool art direction. They didn't tell you how to draw. They just told you what they wanted. And like, as long as they come at you up front with that, I think that's great.
Yeah.
What I hate is when somebody shift something underneath you. They're like, now they need that localized to this venue. Like, you got to put the venue in there. You're like, what the? I just drew something. Like, I got to redraw again. Like,
now I have to name something.
Now I got to put building somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
names of these venues are ridiculous sometimes. There's like the KFC Yum Center.
Right.
It's like KFC Yum with an exclamation point. It has to have the exclamation point after Yum.
Oh, wow.
And you're like, I gotta put this on. Like, I did a really great emotional drawing for the KFC Yum Center.
It's funny because we've had that discussion before, Erica and I, about posters that are like, this is incredible, but then it says the Huntington Bank Pavilion at Northerly Island, and it's like, Northerly Island, cool, right? But when you got to put a corporate bank on there, I think it pulls you out of some of that world building that y'all as artists work so hard to sort of construct in the image, which us is sort of like, the observer, the eye, it goes to what were they kind of getting at here? And you're playing that game of Easter eggs and things. And then, you're disrupted back into reality to remind you that these awesome venues are corporate conglomerates. So,
it's one thing when they have like a name, like ballparks, like Wrigley Field, like, okay, Wrigley's gum, but it's been that way for like 120 years, whatever. You're just like Wrigley Field. It's got its own cultural cachet.
That's right.
There's another thing when it's like the Halliburton Missile Defense Systems Arena.
God help us. That's probably coming soon.
Yeah. Like, the joke used to be like, it'll be like a Tampax stadium. Hey, at least they do good things. Tampax does good things.
They do good work. Yeah. A lot of people need it. As far as gig art versus your pop culture art, like, do you gravitate, or you're like, man, I just love doing anything and everything?
I mean, there's a series of posters I did, art prints I did for, it's called The Sea Also Rises, and it's like crabs and squids and jellyfish and stuff like attacking cities. That's like, if left completely to my own devices, what I would draw. Okay. But I also, not to be completely mercenary or commercial about it, but like, okay, I have to sell stuff. I've this is my full-time gig. I got 5 employees. I got 2 kids. I got a ex. I got like, there's all this.
The balance, the reality versus the falling down the rabbit hole, chasing, the things that you want to chase.
But there's also, there's people who I think are a lot faster than me at illustrating, and they can capture a particular pop culture moment when it's hot that week, cash in, and then move on. And I just realized that constantly chasing that limits your range, because you're not building a back catalog of artwork that keeps selling if it's just like meme culture,
Yeah.
It's like these people, some of them I think just want to be like editorial cartoonists and like make a statement and then move on. It's like, yeah, but you're supposed to be selling art prints. So, is this a viable business model a year from now, 2 years from now?
That makes a lot of sense.
But like one thing I do that a lot of artists don't, is because I own my own silkscreen shop, I can afford to do this, is I keep my back catalog in print of art prints. Obviously the rock posters, my agreements with a band, like you make 100 for yourself, you make 500 for the band, you get paid, blah, blah, blah. But you can't reprint that poster with the band information on it, right? Like,
right.
I own the artwork. I can make art prints all day long, but I'm not going to print more of that show from Metallica, right? But because I own my own silkscreen shop, I'm not paying retail for printing, you know?
Right.
So I have, a giant rack of just, we've got 200 of this print. I did a bag end. I got 300 copies of this one. I did a squid attacking a subway car. And because I'm always doing conventions and shows and over the website, and Etsy and all that, like this stuff's always selling. I have a back catalog that's constantly moving.
That's awesome.
And
I know we'll go back and do things like we'll pick up an artist that we love, and then we'll start going back and trying to get either the art prints or catalog of shows that we went to that we didn't get the prints from. And I mean, for us to go directly to the artist, that is our number one. Like, for us to be able to directly pay good money for the art that we love directly to the artist. And then there's the things that are like, Tim Doyle down the road be like, oh yeah, I got that new roof thanks to the burgers, like, thanks. Well, so speaking of conventions and things of that nature, I know you've got, this episode will air after the event. But what's coming up next for you?
Yeah. So next Wednesday, 28th, I'm bad at math. But yeah, next Wednesday I fly out to Atlanta to do Dragon Con. Yeah, of August. And then that's an insane comic book convention. It's probably my favorite one I do every year. It takes place in these like 4 hotels in downtown Atlanta that kind of face each other, as opposed to a convention center. So when the convention's done, the party goes all night, and it's the bars stay open as late as they can. It's just packed full of cosplayers and debauchery, and there's all kinds of things happening in rooms that I don't know about yet. Lots of furries, lots of things going on with furries, lots of stain removal. It's just very insane. And that convention's been going since I think the late 70s. And it's just constantly evolving. Amazing, beautiful train wreck. And I love it.
And it's going to cover like the landscape, right? Like all your pop culture stuff, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books, kind of the whole nine.
Yeah. A couple years ago, they do this thing where they have hotel key cards that are unique to the convention. And they came to me my first year I did the show and said, hey, for next year, do you want to do the key card art? And they wanted to do one image spread across the 5 different hotels. So I don't know if you've seen the piece. It's on my website. It's called All Together. Is that the one where
you have a screenshot of like Mando is driving a DeLorean with Baby Yoda? And that was awesome.
Yeah, so there's like 80 plus characters on this, and they're kind of like doing one big long parade. But that one image got broken up into 5 different hotel key cards. So if you wanted to get the whole image, you had to go to each hotel and like beg the people working there for a blank card, one that hadn't been activated.
Yeah,
and, I'm sure the hotels appreciated the hell out of it.
Well, it's fun when I went to go get everybody who works at hotels knows what they're in for, and they actually get really excited and they get to dress up in their cosplay while they're working the hotel or whatever. But it was real fun. I felt like a little celebrity. I was like, oh, hey, can I get like 3 or 4 of these? Like, oh, we're limiting them. I was like, well, I drew them. So I kind of want them to like give them my parents and stuff. They're like, oh, you drew these. And so the next thing I know, I'm standing there signing autographs on all these like hotel key cards for like 20 minutes while they all fan out on me. It felt like being, like a little celebrity there for about 30 minutes. But
that's super fun. I mean, because you go not only because it's work related, but you go because you're a fan as well.
Yeah, It's great, and being able to be just around all this energy around the stuff you're into. They do this one cool thing where if you're a kid 10 or older, they give you a little sketchbook, and then participating artists, the kids go around and ask for free sketches, and I love doing that. It's probably my favorite thing. I'll stop a transaction in the middle. I'll drop whatever I'm doing just to draw a Spider-Man for some kid.
That's awesome.
I used to be that kid. Like that's what I love about it. I used to be that kid. And,
that's so cool.
Getting to do that now for other people is really fun.
That's really fun. Well, if you're listening to this episode, and we're gonna try to put some stuff out on the socials so that you can maybe go and catch Tim at the Dragon Con in Atlanta, Georgia, starting on Wednesday, August 27th, 2025. And if you happen to go there and then you listen to this episode later, you can send us a little note over on the socials and let us know that you went and said hey to Tim. But what else other than the convention that you've got coming up? What's next?
Well, just today in the shop, we finished printing my 4th Alabama Shakes poster. That's for the Philadelphia show coming up. I guess that hasn't been revealed yet, but I did the Philadelphia show. Awesome. And then, we just printed a big run for Mark V for the Alabama Shakes. We're doing... Oh, what's funny is we just started doing some printing for the Alamo Draft House again. So I guess that's all water under the bridge now.
Yeah, it all comes back around.
Yeah, doing stuff for their Fantastic Fest film festival. And I mean, I'm doing a private commission right now for Sin City, which is weird because I haven't done any private commission work. I normally quote ridiculously high prices because they can be very high maintenance clients. And this guy didn't even blink at the price I quoted. So I was like, well, damn it. Now I have to draw it.
Let's go.
Yeah. But I love Sin City comic. I thought that movie was great, 20 years ago. Yeah. Gosh, we're still working with a silent film series called Silent Saint. We have a collab with this movie called Woman of the World and Pearl Jam. And I had artist Sean Ng. She's out of Singapore, did the art for this. I love her work. She's amazing. I found her through Tracy Ching. Tracy Ching's a good friend of mine.
Okay.
And I don't know if you know her work, but yeah, she put Sean on my radar.
Yeah. We might even have a piece of hers for I think she did one for Dave Matthews Band here in Raleigh.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's the one with the woman going up to 24. Yeah, okay. Her work is beautiful. It's incredible. Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, Tracy, she came to me very early in her career to do some screen printing, and we just kind of remained friends, and her career has taken off like crazy. She's based out of DC, and so she gets to end up doing a lot of political work. And we're both like pulling our hair out at the current state of the world, but it's just art.
Just draw Hound, man. Just draw Bumblebee or Hound, or ignore all the noise and just put more focus into more Autobot posters.
Oh my God,
this is the way.
Well, Tim, for those who want to go find your work, buy your art, see you in person, where can people find you?
There's the Nakatomi website, Nakatomi Inc. .com, and then there's easiest is just timdoyle.com.
Awesome.
That was a fun URL to finally get after trying for 20 years.
Somebody held that captive. You had to buy it back from them or something.
Oh no, there's a Australian author named Tim Doyle that let his thing lapse, and my web guy grabbed it.
Get it?
Wow, that's
awesome.
But no problem getting Nakatomi. That's amazing.
Well, yeah, there was Nakatomi.com at the time was owned by somebody who wanted to sell it for like $40K and this is in 2008 when I wanted the URL. So we ended up with Nakatomi Inc. INC.
Yeah.
But now Nakatomi.com is like some tech company that had the money to pay for that. But whatever. Tim Doyle posters.
Bruce Willis, the Nakatomi Tower,
Yeah. The Nakatomi Inc. Christmas party I hear is pretty live.
There you go. But yeah, if you just Google Tim Doyle posters, you'll find me.
Awesome.
Right on.
Well, Tim, thank you for joining us today. I know I had 47 other things that we were going to talk about, but
we'll have to have you back on.
We'll have to have you back on. Yeah. I'd love to have a conversation again. And thanks for listening.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
Hey, y'all. If you are a poster collector or poster aficionado like Mike and I want to give a quick shout out over to the Poster Institute. You may not know them from that name. You may be more familiar with their actual cool event that they do called Flat Stock, which is an event that takes place every year in a variety of cities that really help to support the artists that are creating those posters that you love and you know on your walls. They also help to expand the standards and the fields for the artists and are a really incredible organization that gives different opportunities for the professionals and the supporters and the public to really just connect firsthand with those artists that you love. If you're interested in going and supporting the Poster Institute, finding ways to get involved, or attending those cool flat stock events, I need you to go over to posterinstitute.org and find out how you can get involved to support this amazing nonprofit organization.